I really, really don't do well with Jesus died for my sins. You know, like, so what? Like, oh, you do a bunch of like fucked up shit and it's cool because it's on Jesus's tab.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
You know, like, and furthermore, like, however late in your life that you decide to be saved by Jesus, like,
It's all
you're
good.
you're cool. So you can just wait until you're on your deathbed after being a complete shitbag
Right.
for your whole life, and then
Right.
it's, oh, but Jesus, and then it's just gonna be absolved and everything's
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like, you know, like all of the people who I love who are of Muslim faith, you know, Jewish, like they're going to be burning in hell because they didn't accept Jesus as their savior. Like, you know, I've always said that if heaven's all it's cracked up to be, I'd love to check it out, but not without every person who I love. And I love a lot of people who, by Christian standards, are going to hell. So I guess it's hell for me. You know? And it just seems so silly on top of that, too, because Jesus, like, pretty well documented that Jesus lived 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So how did anybody get to heaven before 2,000 years ago? There were humans before Jesus.
Yeah.
So are they all burning in hell?
That's a good question,
Like, what
bro.
honestly.
I've never thought about that.
What are we doing here? I've asked this question many times, and I've heard that they were like, oh no, before then you could do like sacrifice animals or some weird dark
Oh my
shit.
God.
Like, you know, like it's silly, man.
Dude, that's interesting. I never fucking thought about that.
And check this out, dude. Like my dad, very, very logical person, like almost devoid of emotion, I would say. Like I consider him like a human logic machine. And he like kind of went with the Christianity for like a minute there. And he was like, I don't know if I can really do this for the rest of my life. It would kind of like get in the way of me living the way I want to live. And so like he got very, very like into the weeds on trying to get himself like free of like all the dogma and the fear and stuff. And so like he would go on to like quite study theology, and he befriended this pastor in England where he was living. The pastor either became fluent in like Greek and Aramaic to be able to read the original transcripts in the original languages or he just became more familiar with the Aramaic. And what this guy said, and this is really, to me, a big-ass deal, because the whole Jesus died for my sins, and the only way to go to heaven is by accepting Jesus Christ as your Savior, like, comes from one line in the English translation. And the translation is, the only way to my Father is through me. But my dad's pastor buddy says that the actual original scriptures, the Aramaic, the Greek, and an equally valid translation of that line would be, now that Jesus saying, now that I've come to share my teachings, it will be easier to find God. Like, And it like, as I understand it, it all boils down to that one line, how you translate that one line.
Yeah.
But like, it's a lot easier for me to buy that there are more than one teacher, that there's more than one viable way to find God.
Right.
You know, than like this, it's Jesus or you're going to hell.
Right.
Regardless of how you acted. You know,
Right,
like,
right.
And so, you know.
Well, there's also lots of different scholarly people who have translated different original texts and have come up with like all kinds of different theories on Jesus. Like Christianity throughout over the millennia, the people that running the churches have intentionally redacted and added in shit to fit the narrative of what they want it to be.
Dude, the what is it? The Nicene. The Nicene Council.
Oh, the Council of Nicaea.
Yeah, the Council of Nicaea.
It's where they agreed like what they're going to include and what they're going to leave out.
Yeah, that one. That was a pretty dodgy, you know? And now with that said too, and I here I am just like bashing on you know, Jesus, and I don't want to do that because that's just not helpful.
Right.
And my dad, I was talking to him the other night because I saw him on this trip, and I don't know that I heard him say this. He said that if you took completely at random 100 Christians and put them in a room, and then completely at random 100 non-religious people and put them in another room, he says, I think that Christian room's a way happier room.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Well, this is something I think about a lot too. Like I notice a lot of people who, like, when they get older, they just sort of like, people, even when they're young, they like would mock Christianity or religion because it's like, my parents are religious, old people are religious, fuck them. That's like, it's like, you know, you're not supposed to like your teacher or your boss or like the people who make the rules. And the people that are religious make these rules how you have to live your life. So when you're like a young rebel, you automatically want to go the opposite direction of that.
Like the Catholic schoolgirl.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
and
that's like
those same people, when they get old, right.
Yeah, that's how you make a slut. And super Christian shit is how you get people wearing Cannibal Corpse t-shirts.
Yes, fuck exactly. Yeah, bro. Hail Satan. And but those, a lot of people that live that way when they're young will like get old and find God and join Christianity, you know?
Sure. And a lot of people will be super devout Christians and then have a near-death experience and be like, oh, wow, okay, that wasn't it.
Right. And I have absolutely nothing against like people who ascribe to Christianity or Catholicism, as long as you're not hurting people, like, you know, be my guest, do whatever you want.
Right. Yeah. You know, like I've got a buddy of mine, and I was just with him like a couple weeks ago. I've known him since we were 9 years old, fourth grade together. I was actually I was with two guys that came to my property in Tennessee. We've all known each other since fourth grade. Abdullah, super Muslim, super duper Muslim. Yeah. Like when we were in fourth grade, I was at his house, like, you know, praying like to Mecca with him. And it was like, oh, this is cool. This is what we do at Abdullah's house, you know, like, and interestingly too, that, you know, I grew up in 5 different countries, and it was just happened to be, I was 9 years old, I moved to London. And then when I was 12 years old, I moved to Canada. But I moved back to London when I was 13. So, and then
British, I was Canadian, and American.
Yeah, I have 3 passports.
That's sick.
Legit. And I went to all 4 years of high school in London as well. So from 9 to 18, I was in London at the American school in London for all but a year and a half, which was 7th and half of 8th grade. That whole time, Abdullah and I were just bros. We went through like phases together with like soccer and skateboarding, and, you know, like skateboarding was the big one. But we graduated together in 1992. I went to the University of Miami, where we know what happened there. I flunked out in every way you could possibly, you know, every way you could screw up. But Abdullah went to Brown University, graduated with a 4.0. Then he went to Cornell Medical School. Then he became a pediatric surgeon at the Mayo Clinic, where he literally invented methods of operating on babies, unborn babies in the fetal, like he's operating on
while they're in the womb,
babies that have not been born yet.
Whoa!
He literally invented ways to operate on them, and like just that's his deal. He's like, you know, and he's very specific about. He works in.
Oh God, what a fucking sad thing to have to do, bro.
I mean, but here's the thing, dude. And he's candid about this. He works in pediatric surgery because he doesn't want to work on adults because they've just so lost their innocence. He's just kind of bummed on them.
Right.
Like he's only trying to help, like, you know, like it's kind of innocent, you know, children, and like even better, let's get to them in the womb before they
get out here. Let's give them a fair shot early.
Yeah, dude. So
Guys, I didn't even
That's
know that was
insane,
fucking
man.
possible. I've never even heard of that, bro.
Right. And so Abdullah was at my house like literally a couple weeks ago, and I was telling him, I was like, dude, like I talk about you so much, like bragging about,
Yeah.
like we're so close. We stay in touch, and we just like there's like legit love there, like I love him, man, and I'm so proud of him. So I'm always bragging about him, how like he invented this way to operate on unborn babies, and I told him, I was like, man, dude, I brag about you so much, and like when when people are talking about religion, I always like bring you up too, because I love you so much that like I use you as my example of, oh well, Abdullah, if Abdullah is going to hell because he doesn't accept Jesus, then I can't go to heaven. I got to be hanging with Abdullah in hell, you know?
Yep.
And I told him this like literally less than 2 weeks ago, I think, or 2 weeks ago exactly, I don't know. And he goes, dude, what are you being racist on Christians? He goes, dude, don't be racist, bro.
You already have a Santa Claus getting crucified on your phone.
Yeah. He's like, dude, don't. He said, don't do that, man. Like, you can believe whatever you want, man, but like, don't be,
Yeah, that's fucking
bigoted or whatever. And so I'm with you. Like, as much as I like resist the notion of it, like the exclusivity of it.
Right.
As much as I think it's silly, I absolutely concede that people of faith are happier and in a better spot than people without faith.
Right.
And I think that some people, when it comes time, they're actually dying. Some people are legitimately at peace with it.
Yes.
Like legitimately go peacefully and they're not super bummed. And then there's some people who are like clinging to life with so much fear and just fearing death,
Yeah.
And I do genuinely believe that the difference between whether you're going to die peacefully or like super in fear is faith.